Hey guys, this is Anastasia, and this is my next video for my quest for the goddess. This is a spellcraft of sorts that, while it doesn't necessarily deal directly with Hulda, it does deal directly with the goddess energy that I've been feeling and is kind of the inspiration behind this dedication. Right now, I seem to be dealing with a lot of death around me. There are friends of mine that have lost someone important to them recently. A man that I was very close with. He directed a lot of shows that I was in, and also helped a lot with high school speech, which I was very active in. He impacted me a lot, and unfortunately I didn't take the opportunities I had to inform him of just how much he had in fact impacted me as a person. And I feel like when we're dealing with death, we do miss those opportunities. We do, while we know that someone who's passed away knows how we feel about them and knows that we love them and knows that they have left their mark on us and this world and this life experience, I feel like far too often there's always, I wish I could have just told them this one thing. The other day at work, I was hard at work and suddenly had this idea of, I need to make a pouch to go into the casket with this man. I'm going to try to keep his name out of it. It might slip out of my mouth while I'm talking though, but for all intents and purposes, I'm trying to keep it as anonymous as possible. This is actually a practice that I've done since I was like 8. My great-grandmother passed away, and I colored a picture out of a coloring book and wrote a poem on the other side and put it in her casket, and that became my tradition. I would write poems or paint pictures or do something to send with them to the other world. And I didn't even really think of it in that term. It just was always, they need something to bring with them, was my thought. I need to give them something. And I don't really know where this idea came from. I remember clear as day sitting at my grandparents' dining room table and coloring and writing the poem. And when my grandpa Alan asked why I was doing it, I said I need to give it to Grandma Lundquist. That was just what it was. No real rhyme, no real reason. It's just what I felt. And last year, sorry, not trying to get emotional, so I apologize if I break down, especially if you're empathic or sensitive at all. Might be a late warning, but here's your warning. It could happen. Friend of mine passed away, and it was completely unexpected. It was something where he had taken his own life, and no one really knew why, and I had lost contact with him, but instantly I needed to make him a pouch. I needed to put it in this thing, and it was very last minute. It just kind of hit me over the head that I needed to do this. So I quickly rushed through and made something, and since then it's kind of been my thought is I need to make a pouch, I need to make a sachet. And then yesterday at work I had this moment of, I didn't get to say X, Y, and Z to this man. I need to somehow not only do a pouch, not only do a sachet bag, not just send something with him to help protect and guide him in the underworld, which is the point of the pouch that I've always made, is put some rosemary, some thyme, some protection in there that is common with funerary rites. And then with this, it became much more involved. I want to do a ritual. I want to have specific things that are being sent for specific purposes. It really hit me and took hold. And if you're friends with me on Facebook, you know I kind of wrote this long thing about, holy cow, cannot believe this just happened to me at work. I'm sitting here trying to focus on work, and it totally took me away. But after I kind of rested and realized, okay, I feel good, I'm going to stop here and the rest will come to me later, I felt that same energy that I felt in that meditation on the new moon hit me and just kind of wash all over me. And after that, it was pretty damn apparent, in my opinion, that this goddess energy is definitely somehow dealing with death. Which makes sense. It's totally something I'm not good with, I'm not comfortable with. It is something that I need to work my ass through. So it makes sense to me. So while I don't believe it to be Hulda, it is still in her vein as well, because she is also, does have a death aspect to her and does have a protection aspect to her. And I feel like whatever this energy is, it is protective. It is almost like a defensive, and can be combative, but it's more of a protection and death feel. So anyway, now that I've gone through like 7 minutes of explanation, sorry, camera's moving, I'm grabbing my water so I can take sips so I don't have a coughing attack. All right, let's see if that stays. So what you see before you, I have my Love and Light candle. This is what I light every time someone asks for healing energy or protection or warm fuzzies, or if someone passes away. This is an herbal blend that I made. It has all sorts of good stuff. We've got rosemary. Hold on, I need to move things around so I can check my notes, because you know me, I live by my notes. I've got rosemary for protection and remembrance. I have lily for resurrection. I have thyme for purification, lavender for peace and memories, elderflowers for transformation, yew for protection, immortality, and to serve as a guardian of the dead. I have birch for rebirth and renewal, and I have oak for strength, renewal of soul, and healing of wounds, especially dealing with unfinished business. I went with a creation of 8 items for this. Spiritually, 8 is the goal of the initiate, having gone through 7 stages. 8 is infinity, paradise regained. There are 8 winds and intermediate directions of space, which I find really deals with travel, which, let's face it, this is a journey into your next cycle. It deals with regeneration, resurrection, and even in Christian mythos, which this gentleman happened to be, 8 is the sign or number for regeneration and rebirth. All of that information on the number 8 I got from crystallinks.com. Really great informational site. I just wanted to put that out there. So I blended that together, and then I bound it with rose oil for beauty, divine love, and I find it is very much connected it feels like a connector between the world of the living and the world of the dead. Leaving roses on a grave is something that so many people do. Working with hell, dried white roses especially were one of her favorite offerings that I had found. So I definitely associate roses as much with love as I do with death. And really, when we discuss death and having to work with it and heal from it, it's oftentimes the death of someone that we love. So while it might not be romantic, it definitely is still love. And I feel like it's a much deeper feeling in a lot of cases. So that is what's in here. This is a pouch, and I did not want this kind of tan yellow color, but that's what the store had. So I worked with it. It's kind of a tannish, yellowish thing. I worked with it because tan or browns work with earth energy, and this gentleman's body is going to be buried in the earth, I believe. So that's what we're rolling with. And yellow, of course, deals with communication, and that's kind of the point of this craft, is to communicate with him that last sentiment or those last words that I did not get to say. So on this side, in my ever loved witch's alphabet, I have my little incantation or inscription. And then on this side, in the witch's alphabet, blessed be. And then I have the witch's rune of waves, or at least as best as I could draw it. The witch's rune of waves deals with, it is really the rune that I connect most with the spiritual realm, and this is what I'm trying to communicate with, so it worked. I have the gentleman's name in the witch's alphabet below that, and then we have the Nordic rune, radio, I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but it is the rune for journey. Then I have the Ogam for Rowan, and that also deals with, or no, this is Elder. I am so sorry. I wrote Rowan on another thing. Mother Atlanta. There we go. It's the Ogam Ruiz. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong as well, which is Elder for transition, evolution, and continuation. And then in the center, I do have a Celtic cross. Again, the gentleman was Christian. I am not trying to override that belief structure. It's just a way for our paths to connect. And the Celtic cross, of course, with the symbol of the circle in the middle representing the sun. A very strong symbol in both paganism and Christianity, therefore very much a connector for me. So that is the pouch. And then I have 4 items for kind of the elements. We've got a black candle for protection, and on it I've engraved Algiz and the Rowan Ogam, both of those for protection. And then in between those I have crosses, and that is to represent fire. And the idea is the candle will help protect and light his way to the next world. Next, I have 2 coins. The tradition of putting the coins over the eyes to give to the messenger to the dead. Messenger to the dead connects to air for me. I know Charon is ferryman, but Hermes is also a god that is said to help bring people to the underrealm, and so he is definitely associated with air, so that's kind of where I'm going with that, plus it's dealing with a journey, it's dealing with a travel. Then we have a bay leaf, on which I've written the last things I really want the gentleman to know. That deals with earth. Bay leaf deals with